Okay, I'm going to give a more in-depth review of my 2001 Mazda Bongo Friendee pop-top, auto-free top camping van that I imported from Japan a couple years ago. I did a preview of this van when it first came over from Japan, but here's a more detailed review of what it is. I've gone through it and it's pretty much ready to go now. It's ready to use. So just a quick walk around. So it's the auto-free top, so that means it has the pop top, the electric pop top, that automatically, with the push of a button, raises and lowers. Just as we go around, I added a backup camera to it. We'll show you that inside. This one's got dark tinted glass, which is nice. It also has window blinds, which we'll show you in a minute. This is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder, inline 4-cylinder gas motor. Rear-wheel drive. These came in various gas and diesel configurations with 2- and 4-wheel drive. This one's 4-cylinder gas. Put new tires on it, just kind of cheapo tires, but they just a good, decent all-season tire. New windshield wipers, changed all the fluids. Inside, of course, it's right-hand drive, being from Japan. 4-speed automatic. And it's a 2-liter inline 4, so similar to what would be in like an older Mazda 626 or a Protege, or it's the standard Mazda. I think it was the FE design. One thing you'll notice is it's quite a big step up from the ground. You sit quite high in these, and they have a huge windshield, so the viewing position is quite good for sightseeing and touring. Bucket seats, console. There's the DVD player JVC unit I put in, and I added a backup camera with a wireless kit from Amazon, so I didn't have to run wires. I just have a wireless sender in the back hatch, and there's a wireless sender up under the dash, which sends the camera signal. It works really well. They're like $20 on Amazon for that wireless kit. And the camera was like a $20 Amazon special. Now the roof. To put the roof up in these, it has to be running first. You can see my other video about the roof, and there's a wire in the switch. Okay, so after you start it, put the e-brake on and push the button on the roof, as you can see in my other video of the view of the roof going up and down. That's what the roof looks like. There's nothing more to do than push that switch, and same thing to put it back down, which we'll do in a minute. It's still running. Let's shut it off. We'll show the inside. One sliding door. Would be really nice to have 2 sliding doors, but to access things on the other side. There's a bear in here. Build a bear. I've got it set up for sleeping right now. Okay, so it's a 3-row van. There's 2 rows of bench seats, and they just fold flat. You pull that lever there, push the seats flat, push the back seat flat, and then it's one flat bed-like thing. There's headrests that give you a little bit of a bump, but what I've done is I've put an air mattress, like a backpacker style air mattress that blows up really quite easily on top of there, and then with a sleeping bag, it's actually quite comfortable. You don't really feel those bumps from the headrests. And of course you could add more padding here. You could do memory foam, you could do all sorts of things, but I find that this setup works pretty good. For upstairs, which we'll show in a minute, I've got these backpacker single inflatable mattresses, and I use singles because you can blow them up downstairs and then push them up through the hatch so they fit. So 2 people, probably 2 kids, works better, can sleep upstairs, although apparently the aluminum framing and everything else will support 2 adults as well. So how to get upstairs? There's a hatch here. Just opens up like that. And then you just pull yourself up. So you just stand on the seats and pull yourself up. That's a skylight, and there's also an electric light up there. But you can pull that open and there's a skylight so you get some light. And if you have the roof down and the hatch open, that kind of acts as a rear sunroof. So this can be a skylight open to the outside if you want. The whole panel lifts up as well on these struts. See that? So that gives you more access to stand up. If the seats, for example, downstairs are upright, you can stand in between them and fully stand up here. Full canvas tent-like material with a zipper around the outside, so you can undo the zipper and then fold the canvas up with Velcro straps, so you've just got like a mosquito netting. If it's warm, you can open it right up. If it's cooler, you can, and windy, you can close it up like it is right now. There's also a vent up there up top. When you want to put the roof down, there's a safety switch up there to make sure nobody gets caught. So you push that safety switch by the light. You've got, I think, 30 seconds to hit the switch on the roof here to lower the roof down. And you can see the details of that in my other video. But it's basically a minivan type interior, 3 rows. With built-in curtains on the windows. So the curtains on the windows pull down. Now some of these Bongos have electric windows. There's a switch somewhere in here to take these up and down. This one has the manual windows. So they just push up and down. Here's one here. I can demonstrate this one to you. This one's peeking down. They just pull down, and there's different levels. Like there's 1 notch, 2 notch, 3 notch, or all the way down. Okay, so there's 4 blinds like that that are built in from the factory. Put them back up the same way. The electric ones would be kind of neat, but you know, I think the manual ones are simpler. If that electric motor ever burned out or something went wrong with it, I imagine it would be difficult to repair, where these ones are just so simple. They don't require any battery power. You can put them up and down middle of the night or whatever. I kind of was disappointed when I saw that it didn't have the electrics, but now I think that might be the way to go. They work well just manually, and there's less things to go wrong. So that's the interior. From Japan, this one actually came with a monitor, an old Panasonic monitor that was plugged into an old head unit, but I was able to plug this into the back of that new JVC, and it mounts on this mount here. And it actually broadcasts the video from the DVD player to this as well. So somebody can be sitting in the front seat watching a movie. People can be sitting in the back watching on this monitor. Or there's extra cable here. You can actually take it upstairs and watch a movie upstairs as well. So the kids really like that feature. Okay, before we can go for a ride, we got to put this top down. I'll show you this one more time. And then, like I said, check out my other video. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do by yourself because you have to climb up to the top, hit the safety button, and it beeps for a period of time. And you go down here before it stops beeping, and you hit the close button here, and the roof comes down automatically. Open to show you the skylight, the sunroof. See that? So you can have that open while you drive. Or if you're sleeping down here on the downstairs bed, you can look at the stars. With the seats up, this is what the seats look like. I got the back seat down still, but it is basically the same kind of bench seat like this. There's these little seats here too. You can put this seat back forward, and here on this, pop that forward, and you can actually sit there and put a plate or your drinks out of the rain. Pull these seats slide too on tracks, back and forth, so you can pull it right forward and have a seat. You have to be pretty small though. There's the air conditioning and heat controls over there for the back vents, and there's upper vents for air conditioning. There's also lower vents for heat. So it's a really well thought out van. Under the hood, we have the battery, the brake fluid reservoir, some relays and fuses. Down here's the air intake for the engine, and the air filters under the cover inside the vehicle. This is interesting. This is where the air comes in for the heating and air conditioning. So if you translate the Japanese here, there's a lever here. This is snow mode, and this is normal. So I think in normal mode, like in the summer, you get your fresh air from this big huge duct in the front here, this big vent, and then the blower motor's down here, that round thing behind the pink wire, and that's where your air comes into the cabin for the HVAC system. In snow mode, the air comes from more underneath. So I guess if it's snowing, you don't want snow coming in and blowing inside the vehicle. I guess that's what that is for. That's normal mode, back to normal. And finally, the coolant reservoir is here, and washer fluid. Those are the serviceable things under the hood. Everything else is under the engine cover inside. To access the engine, the two-step process. First, you have to remove this plastic console. So under here, there's a wing nut that you need to take off. And inside here, there's another one. Another wing nut that you need to get out of there. Just put this stuff out of the way. And then the whole thing lifts up, and you just wiggle it over the shifter and put it out of the way. Okay, to get at the motor, there are clips under the seats. These Velcro carpets come up. Velcro, there's a clip here. There's one under here as well, which I've also undone. There's two up top on the console, one here, and two seat clips on the other side. So the two sides open up independently. Move the seat forward a little bit, and then the whole thing just flips back like that. And so on this side you've got I think this one's engine oil. Or is that tranny fluid? I think that's transmission fluid, power steering fluid. The air filter box is here. And there's that big plastic tube coming in from the front that we showed you earlier. And oil fill. So there's not bad room with the 4-cylinder. I think the V6 would be more cramped, and maybe the diesel as well, but there's lots of room to get at the oil filter. It's quite serviceable. Yeah, I see this dipstick going into the transmission. So that's ATF. And then on the other side, just walk around to the other side. Similarly, I've undone the clips. Seat comes forward and the whole thing tilts back. And here you've got the AC compressor, distributor, plug wires. The plugs are really easy to get at here. There's the engine oil dipstick, carbon canister filter, the exhaust, and the oxygen sensor. It's actually more serviceable than a lot of cars. Everything's quite easy to get at. So that's it. Fairly simple, 4-cylinder. And